Drone finds 1,000-year-old village. We are continuously finding innovative ways to explore new places and terrain. One of the more modern developments in archaeological research is being able to use drones to capture images and share the view of places we have not been able to reach before. Back in 2013, a team of archaeologists managed to use a drone to reveal a village that has been estimated to be about 1,000 years old. The team sent a small drone to Blue Jay, a village that archaeologists first revealed in the 1970s. The village lies 43 miles south from Chaco Canyon in the northwest of New Mexico. This village is home to nearly 60 ancestral Puebloan houses that surround an area that was once a spring. Today, Blue Jay is somewhat in ruins. It is hidden behind various plants and parts are buried in sandstone blown down by cliffs. We have been able to find out a little about the ancient structures of this site through some excavations, though this drone mission revealed an awful lot more. Blue Jay received a visit from a small drone able to capture thermal, infrared images. This let the team, quite literally, see what was hiding beneath the surface. The team revealed structures we have never seen before in a Native American settlement. Needless to say, this was a momentous discovery. Jesse Casana, an archaeologist from the University of Arkansas, said, "I was really pleased with the results." He then went on to explain that studies like this can show just how incredible drones, or UAVs, are in various fields of scientific research. This was not the first investigation of the site, with some excavations having taken place prior. However, the drone images both confirmed the presence of stone compounds we had identified and were already aware of, as well as showing us this new information. Once again, this is great news. The methods we have been using so far are seemingly reliable, and we now have new additional ways to confirm these stone structures without contradicting what we know so far. As with a great number of archaeological discoveries, the thermal images uncovered a lot more than the physical structures. We were also given a window into further cultural understanding. For a while now, Blue Jay has been considered somewhat unusual, a bit of an outlier compared to the surrounding villages. Typically, we expect to see some great houses or kivas, areas of public gatherings or ceremonies, though none of these trademark features of Chaco-era Pueblo sites were seen in Blue Jay. The thermal images show a dark circle in the wall of the plaza area. This means we can expect a wetter, colder soil here, which may be filling in spaces where the ceremonies, gatherings, and alike events took place. We know there is an underground circular structure of some sort that had been missed when studying before. Not only can these thermal images show us areas of interest, but it also gives us a clear idea of where we can begin looking and prepare and plan a course of digging with direction in mind before any soil has even been taken up. Kasana said, "Now that we know what household compounds look like in thermal imaging, we could use it to prospect for structures at other sites. This research method is not limited to this one area. The use of drones, thermal and infrared imaging are all invaluable to so many archaeological sites. The technology works because features like bricks or stone walls keep and release warmth in a different way that the soil that surrounds those features does. This means that even when structures are entirely buried, we can oftentimes view an outline of the structure using heat maps. Of course, the equipment is rather expensive and high-quality imaging devices are key. It's not a new idea to use thermal imaging. It is just simply an expensive and difficult process to initiate. What is even more complex is considering the expenses against the likelihood of crashing the drones. Kasana described it as not a question of if you'll crash it, but of when and how badly. There are issues such as hardware coming loose or software glitching, all of which can cause devastating losses to the equipment. Another hurdle to this research technique is the legality. The Federal Aviation Administration has to implement a series of rules and regulations dictating what is and is not allowed when flying these sorts of drones. There are issues of safety and the law, but hopefully it will be resolved to enough of a compromise that this revolutionary scientific method can still be used and bring all sorts of new discoveries. Earth's crust is dripping like honey into its interior. A mysterious happening is occurring underneath the mountainous range of the Andes. Our Earth's very crust appears to be melting and dripping deeper into the ground. Scientists discovered proof that our planet's crust has been flowing away into the Andes and has been seemingly devoured by the Earth's mantle. In a quest to confirm their data, researchers conducted a sandbox experiment comparing it with the real-life findings. The results confirm that several hundred miles of the Andes have dripped into the mantle. As it turns out, this is not anything new and has occurred worldwide for millennia. Scientists call it lithospheric dripping. The reason it's so profound as a discovery is because we did not know about it before. According to a researcher from the University of Toronto, Julia Anderson, we have confirmed that deformation on the surface of an area of the Andes Mountains has a large portion of the lithosphere. The Earth's crust and upper mantle below avalanched away. Anderson compared it to dripping like cold syrup or honey deeper into the planetary interior, claiming this is a result of high density. Anderson believes that this lithospheric dripping is responsible for the shifting surface of the Andes. When it comes to geology, there is the upper mantle, the crust, the lithosphere, and the lower mantle. The upper mantle is formed of solid rock plates. The lower mantle is where the tectonic plates reside, which are moved by currents of magma. They can create oceans or cause earthquakes. Scientists have been studying the lower mantle and how tectonic plates work for a long time, but are still discovering brand new things in their research. The process of lithospheric dripping goes like this. Two tectonic plates crash together, creating heat. This immense heat and pressure cause them to thicken and drip down deeper into the Earth's mantle, like a sluggish drop of honey oozing from its pot. As this occurs, the weight affects the upper crust and tugs it down, thus forming a temporary basin in the land until the pressure becomes too much and the crust jumps skyward, like a spring, forming mountains. This is how researchers believe the Andes were made. There is evidence in the central Andean plateau to suggest the mountains sprung unexpectedly instead of being formed over time via the process of subduction, another way mountains are formed, which takes far longer over the course of decades, if not centuries. It is thought some of the Andes were formed via subduction, but fragments of it appear to have only sprung up in our current geological period of the Cenozoic. That is to say, they formed within the past 66 million years. Scientists hope to utilize sandbox modeling in the future to test their theories, but are convinced that lithospheric dripping must be a commonplace occurrence for the Andes area. Alongside digital recreations, researchers used a plexiglass tank with a stimulated area of the mantle and crust with the use of silicon polymer to experiment. Anderson recalls, "It was like creating and destroying tectonic mountain belts in a sandbox, floating on a simulated pool of magma, all under incredibly precise sub-millimeter measured conditions." Furthermore, Anderson explained, the dripping occurs over hours, so you wouldn't see much happening from 1 minute to the next, but if you checked every few hours, you would clearly see the change. It just requires patience. Their sandbox experimentation proved that the Andes was created by lithospheric dripping, and that it is perfectly normal to witness it happening now, since the area is susceptible to it. Decoding whale language. According to an international team of scientists that has started a 5-year journey, whales use a pattern of clicking noises referred to as coders to communicate back and forth. Like humans, different tribes have their own special dialects. Scientist Shane Gero is working to understand the whale group in Dominica. Gero studied 2 whales having an active conversation back in 2008. They used their coder for 40 minutes, communicating and swimming alongside each other. He had followed the specific mammals in the Caribbean for 3 years. Gero would record their communication, but had not heard a conversation live before. He was entranced. What if scientists had the ability to unlock the meaning of these clicks? They could reveal a shocking understanding of our natural world. For 13 years following, he continued to record more than 1,000 audio tracks of coders and clicks. With the tracks, Gero annotated other specific notes, such as which whales clicked at which time, their behavior during, and who or what was in their surroundings. With whales, the big question is whether any of this stuff is even present. Jacob Andreas, a natural language processing expert at MIT and member of Project SETI, tells National Geographic, "Are there minimal units inside this communication system that behave like language, and are there rules for putting them together?" Other scientists say observing their behavior to give the findings context should go along with the millions of coders needed for computers to recognize their speech patterns. For example, hunting or mating clicks may have a specific clicking pattern or tone. It's the cocktail party problem, David Gruber, a professor at the City University of New York, tells National Geographic. Scatter a few microphones around a party and they'll pick up snatches of conversation. But watch people, tracking who touches someone's arm, who scans the room for better company, and the whole scene starts to make more sense. To understand the specifics of whale communication, Project SETI will utilize specific audio and video equipment. Some of the tools, including high-resolution hydrophones that record 24/7, reaching thousands of feet under the surface, cameras that scientists will latch to whales using suction cups. These cameras can withstand pressure at extreme depths. Lastly, drones designed to move in water similarly to a fish so they can record without disturbance. Once scientists begin their recordings, they will count on advances in AI to gather and conclude the data, identifying key patterns and elements of the whale's language. After these elements are complete, then comes the exciting part, attempting to communicate back with the whales. The posse plans to test its conclusions by broadcasting the vocalizations to the whales and monitoring the results. Their goal is to get the whales to respond back. The question comes up, what are you going to say to them? That kind of misses the point, Gero says. It assumes they have a language to talk about us and boats, or the weather, or whatever we might want to ask them about. The primary goal is simply to understand. It's not about us talking to them. This is about listening to the whales in their own setting, on their own terms. It's the idea that we want to know what they're saying, that we care. All three of these mysterious underwater discoveries have one thing in common. Maintaining their habitats is what will keep the research developed. With climate change on the rise, each of these fascinating findings are at risk. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.